Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. So my little girl is 5 and she's told me that she wants to go as Wednesday on Halloween trick or treating. So I wanted to make her a little bit of something to add to her costume, and I've got these little fidget spinner type pendants which I think would be pretty cool. Almost looks like a bit of a witch effect, but I'm sure Wednesday would wear one. And I've been hunting around my house near the windowsills to try and find some dead flies, and luckily I have. So I'm going to try and put those in a UV pendant, then attach it to this little fidget spinner so that she's going to have some real dead flies in a pendant. So that's what this project is. It's going to be a bit of a strange one. Going to be using UV resin for it as well, rather than two-part epoxy, and let's see how we get on. So first thing is, on this jewellery mould, I know to fit this, it's these 2 circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just put a little tiny bit in and part cure it so that there's going to be a bit of a dome effect. So probably, I don't know, about 1/3 of the way, just so there's a little bit of magnification. So again, just pouring them in, trying to get them as equal as possible because I want these to be reasonably symmetrical. And then I am going to cure that. Make sure there's no bubbles first of all. And then for the first layer, it's just going to be a case of using the UV lamp and curing that. And then we can move on to the weird part, which is the flies. Never thought I'd find myself actually hunting for flies around my house in order to help create a costume, but yeah, very dried up, very crispy. So at least I know they're dry. And then what you've got to remember is that you want these front facing as well, so it's going to be interesting. So that has pretty much cured that part, as you can see. And now it is just going to be a case of initially positioning the flies. I did find a little tiny daddy long legs as well, but I don't know if that's going to fit in. So we will see. Right, which ones are we going to go with? This one's big and crispy. So I think that one is going to look pretty cool. Just trying to get off any of the extra fluff and cobwebs that he comes with. And I'm just going to lay him. In fact, what I'm going to do is put a little dot of UV resin down first, so there's something to attach him to. Never thought I'd find myself trying to place a dead fly in resin, but there we go. So just a tiny little dot in the middle to secure him. It could be a her, I don't know. And I think he's going to pretty much fill this one. I want to press him down as well because I do want a level back, even though I've put that dome in. So he's in. And then for this other one, should I try and fit this guy in? It's going to be so bloody awkward, pardon my French. A daddy long legs on one side and a fly on the other. But I want to make sure I can actually fit him in. And then I do want a backing on this as well, just to try and make it pop a little. But yeah, this is quite an effort to try and get these legs to actually go in. But I think they will, with a bit of manoeuvring. So we're going to do it. We're going to have a daddy long legs one side and a fly on the other. and see what effect we get. Just that leg there. There we go, so that's now manoeuvred in. God, these legs, horrible. I want them all to be completely inside the mould there. Right, so now what I'm going to do is fill those up. Again, I'm probably going to do it in a couple of stages though, because I don't want it to be too thick. Okay. I'm going to let these sit for a second as well, just to try and prevent any air bubbles coming out. Hope she appreciates this. So I'm going to cure that again now, he says. Hoping that the lamp still works. There we go. So just going to give it sort of 20-30 seconds. Then I'm going to fill them to the back so that they are full. Oh, they look horrible. So let's fill it all the way now. Again, hoping that there's no bubbles on the underside, because that will ruin it. Again, guys, if you like the content, please like and subscribe to the channel. It does make a huge difference. Now, I can just see a tiny little bubble there. So I'm going to try and coax it out, but I don't really want to use my torch because of how dry these dead insects are. Right, so we're going to cure that. And I think that should be the majority of the insect sealed inside the resin. So now hopefully I can do something with a bit of a back to make it at least look a little bit more interesting. But I think I want it to stay white because I think that's how these are going to pop the most. But I don't want it to just be plain white. I want it to have a little bit of bling going off. So always remember with UV resin as well, make sure you cure both sides. I think we've got a tiny bubble in there, but I think we'll get away with that as to where it is. So I think we should be okay. Oh, they look horrible already. And actually, I can see the fly in so much detail now it's in that UV resin. You see the little hairs hanging off it and everything. So looks like it lost half a wing. Whether a spider came and chewed it off, I don't know. So that's those at the minute. Now, I know you shouldn't really use alcohol inks when it comes to UV resin, but when you do, you get a really interesting texture. So I'm just going to put a thin layer, again as thin as I can at the minute, because I don't want these popping out of the molds. And this is pretty much going to be that final layer. Now I have got these chameleon alcohol inks I made, which I know won't overcolour the piece, but I think they'll just add a little bit of texture and hopefully just a little bit of sparkle. But as you can see, look at the resin reacting to it, it hates it. But I just wanted a little bit of bling on there, and hopefully it will create a little bit of texture as well. So I'm just going to cure that. And then I think I want a primarily white background, because I think that is what will make these pop. I'm just having a look for some white mica powder or something. And as you can see, that for me has just added a little tiny bit of bling to the back there before we add the white, just so it doesn't look like just a hideous insect. I've got a few spare as well, so if anybody wants any dead flies, let me know and I'll send them. And now what I'm going to do is just pour some UV resin in the back of here with the tiniest bit of ocean white to give me a bit of a white backing. And I don't think I'll need much. And I don't even want a full drop here, I don't think. I'm just going to try and get the smallest bit possible out. And I'm just using this ocean white resin pigment, which I haven't tried with UV resin before, so we'll see if it cures. I hope it does after all this effort. I literally want one drop, less than a drop, if I can. Oh, that's more than enough. And I'm just looking for one of my toothpicks, which I'm never around when you want one. There's one. So I'm just going to mix this with a toothpick and then put a very thin layer on the back. Hopefully that will then make both the insect pop and also the chameleon alcohol powders that I put on there. But actually thinking about it, might be nice to just put a blue tinge on there as well with the blue alcohol ink. As you can see, this is the tiniest bit I'm using, just mixing it up with that toothpick. And I think I'm going to need a tiny bit more UV resin actually. Just so it actually mixes properly. So there we go, that should be enough I hope. And just mixing it all together to hopefully get an almost opaque white, but not fully opaque. And in fact, I am going to go in with the blue one as well, just to give it a slightly different tinge. And I've put that on without any additional UV resin, which I think could be a mistake. So in fact, yeah, I'm changing my mind. I'm just going to rub that round a little bit so it's still there, but take off the excess. That actually looks pretty cool. I'm going to try the same on the other side just so it's matching. And that's just giving it a little bit of a blue tinge, which hopefully when the white goes on will make it pop. Almost purple, that's gone. I'm really happy with that. So, hoping this will be the final layer, and I'm hoping it'll cure. And then we can glue it to the pendant and see what we've got. And I'm just hoping it's worked, so I haven't got to do it again. But the key is whenever you're using opaque colours with UV resin, whether it's black, whether it's white, you want to try and get it as thin as possible so that you know it is actually going to cure. So again, I'm just using my toothpick to try and make sure it's spread all the way around that back. And I want a thin layer. Just trying to get an even spread all the way to the edge. And when you do it in these thin layers, you're probably going to need 1 or 2 at least. Actually quite therapeutic doing this. But you want it to get all the way to the edge so that it's got a good chance of being thin enough to cure. There we go, that's the first one. So that's the first layer. Now to quickly cure it, and it may need a second. And this is definitely going to be the creepiest pendant I've ever made. But hopefully it will go well with the costume, and Wednesday Addams would actually appreciate it. Again, give this a thumbs up if you're liking the content, and there's loads of videos. We've just published, I think this is going to be about our 50th epoxy or resin related video. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe, share the content. It makes a huge difference. So that should be the first layer cured. Just going to give it one more just to make sure it's got that look. And then I think we're ready to put it in the pendant, and we should be good to go. And you see, by building up those 2 layers, you make sure it cures, but you also get a fully coloured back, which is what I was wanting. Right, so I'm going to cure that on full, 2 minutes both sides, and then we're going to water cure it, and then we should be ready to put it in the pendant. I honestly don't know what this is going to look like. Hopefully you'll be able to see the daddy long legs or spider, and hopefully you'll be able to see the fly on the other side. And I think it'll be a really cool addition to the Halloween costume. And hopefully we'll have some of those chameleon alcohol inks still coming through with a bit of glimmer. As well, just to add to it, so it's not just looking like 2 dead insects inside a pendant. And I've got my water ready for the water curing, and all that is water in a clear cup. So if all you need to do is, oh God, that looks horrific. So I'm going to just pop these out of the mold and into the water for the final cure. And hopefully that should stop them being sticky. And then what I like to do as well is just give them a bit of a move around in the water to make sure that every angle is getting a little bit of those UV rays, which is essentially what's going to cure it. And I want to make sure that this one is cured, especially with it going to my little girl. I want to make sure that there's nothing that's uncured and there's no risk of any resin leaking out. I'm hoping this is going to turn out really cool. Right, now I'm just going to empty the excess water out, and then we'll be back just to give them a dry off with a microfiber cloth rather than kitchen roll, because if you use kitchen roll it can scratch. Right, so just going to give these a dry off, and then we'll have a look. Well, that one's actually worked really well. Don't know if you can see, but we've got the full daddy long legs in there, and I really like the background with the chameleon alcohol inks and the white. It just gives it something to pop and not just be an insect. So that's hopefully going to be on one side of this. And then we've got, oh, this ugly fly. But again, that's worked really well. There is one bubble in there, but I'm not fussed about that. You can tell it's a fly, and it is horrible. So again, where most of these videos stop is they don't show you how to actually turn it into jewellery. So I'm going to show you, because it is dead straightforward if you've got the right hardware. I'm going to use what I always use, which is my trusty No More Nails. You can, I've seen a lot of resin artists recommend E6000 glue as well. I don't have any, and this has always been really, really strong for me. So let's position it where we want. A decent sized blob of this No More Nails. And then I think we'll do daddy long legs this side. And literally just press it down, and that should dry nicely. And then, if you can see, that's worked really well. And then on the other side, I'm going to glue in this horrible big black fly. Then give it a squeeze. Leave it for 24 hours for the glue to fully cure. But normally within a few minutes, it's pretty much cured. And this stuff, No More Nails, I don't know if you've got it in the States, but it's one of those adhesives, once it's dry, you'll never be able to get it off. So I'm going to try and do this so it's upright. And then just give them both a squeeze. And if you get anything coming out the side, it's not a problem, just give it a wipe. And then I'm probably going to give it a wipe with some alcohol when it's all done anyway. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with that, and I'm hoping she will be too. So if you can see, this side we've got the big black ugly fly, and this side we've got a daddy long legs. And then what I'm going to do, she's only 5, so it's not going to need a big chain. Where are my O-rings? Now, because she's going as Wednesday Addams as well, I can't really give her a bright pink chain, so I'm just seeing if I've got a black one somewhere. I should have, it's probably in my jewellery making kit. I think that should be perfect. So all I'm going to do is put an O-ring on. That size looks about right to me. Get yourself some pliers with O-rings, it makes life a lot easier. And then all you want to do with your O-ring, grab it with your pliers, twist it halfway, add that to the top of the pendant, and then close it. And you want to get it as closed up as you possibly can, because otherwise there's a risk that the pendant will come off, which you don't want when you put all of that effort in. But that is the finished pendant. Then just going to get my chain and loop it through, and then we should be good to go. And that is the finished product. So we have the pendant, we've got daddy long legs one side, horrible, and a fly on the other side, which is also horrible. So, but ideal for Halloween, and I think Wednesday Addams would approve. Let me know what you think in comments. If you've liked it, it was just a fun little project, then let me know in comments as well, and I'll see you on the next one.